Are you trying to lose belly fat and tummy fat? Have you found it so discouraging and frustrating because it's so hard to lose this? Well, today I'm going to give you 5 tips to help you lose this once and for all. Hey everybody, I'm Brian with Applied Fitness, and today we're going to give you those 5 tips, and by the end of this video you're going to have an action plan and 5 hacks that get you from where you're at now to where you want to go. We're going to bridge the gap to lose the belly fat and keep it off for good. All right, number 1, the first thing is I want you to eliminate sugar in your diet, because nothing is more insidious and causes more belly fat and causes more weight gain and will stunt your fat loss program than sugar. Sugar is so insidious, and it is in so many different things like ketchup. You wouldn't even realize where sugar is unless you start looking, which is something you should start doing. Start reading food labels. Start looking for not only the word sugar, but the pseudonames, high fructose corn syrup. There's over 50 different names of sugar. So just because something doesn't say sugar doesn't mean that it doesn't have sugar in it or a variation of sugar. So you want to keep foods as low to no sugar as possible. That is essential to lose belly fat. All right, number 2 is daily dessert. Again, I don't know where this comes from. I remember a time when desserts were reserved for special occasions and birthdays and anniversaries, but it seems like we're in a culture now of comfort food and comfort eating, that after every meal or every time somebody goes out to dinner or whatever, they always look at the dessert menu. They always have a dessert. And you know what, we have to kind of get away from that. Having that sweet tooth, especially late in the evening, which a lot of us do, is counterproductive, and nothing, again, will slow down the fat loss and tummy fat than eating dessert every day. So the answer to that is, again, let's go back to how we used to be. Let's go back to desserts for once in a while occasions, for birthdays, anniversaries. More importantly, let's keep desserts for our cheat meal days. And that's a whole nother video that I'm going to link to for cheat meals and the importance from the physiological and psychological benefits of having that once a week cheat meal to have your dessert so that you feel like you're not being deprived. All right. Number 3 is bad snacking. And we've kind of grown where, we have that mid-morning snack, we have that mid-afternoon snack, and that can be very beneficial. And in fact, we often recommend not to have 3 big meals, but to have 4, 5, maybe even 6 small meals throughout the day to keep your metabolism going, to keep yourself burning more fat, to keep your metabolism torched. But the bad snacking is when we start eating processed food, or we start eating things that are higher in the hidden sugars, or that are high in carbohydrates. Snacks should be something that is more conducive to stimulating metabolism. So that means something that's higher in protein, that's lower in carbohydrates. Snacks shouldn't be very high carbs, but conversely should be low carb, higher protein, moderate fat. A little bit of that fat to keep you feel full, and the protein to build and tone the muscle and keep the metabolism elevated, and no carbohydrates or low carbohydrates to keep your insulin levels down, under control. Number 4 is liquid calories. This one, it will blow your mind. If you do a food journal, which I recommend, and you record how many calories you're taking in a day, what you're eating, and how many of those calories are coming from liquid calories, you'd be surprised. And I know oftentimes we think about the no-brainers, we think about the colas and the pops, and we think of alcohol, and all those, of course, are detrimental to our fat loss and tummy loss program, but we don't think about such things as juices, and I'm not talking about fresh made juices at juiceries, but I'm talking about like the juices that you buy in the grocery store, like Mott's juice or any of the orange juice, anything that's added sugar. Those juices can add up. You might think you're doing something healthy, but when you add that up, there might be 200 to 300 extra calories. Another big one is smoothies. Again, smoothies have their place. Smoothies can be very healthy when done right, but you can have smoothies that have 600-700 calories. That's more than a typical meal, and you might think you're doing something good for your body, but in the long run, it might be holding you back. Last but not least is protein powders. Big believer in protein powders. I use one myself. But beware and be careful that that protein powder isn't high in calories, isn't high in sugar, isn't almost as many calories as a meal. You want it to be just some protein, no carbohydrate, and no sugar added. So avoid and look out for those insidious liquid calories. All right, and number 5 is lack of exercise. You knew I was going to bring this all back to the exercise. The lack of exercise seems like a no-brainer, but when I talk about exercise, I don't mean something that you do haphazardly, or exercise that you do once in a while, or exercise that you do when you feel like it. Exercise, I want you to be consistent. And I would rather see the exercise to be a little bit on most days of the week than a whole lot 2 or 3 days of the week. For example, we've all heard the expression, the weekend warrior. I would rather see somebody do 20 to 30 minutes, maybe 5 or 6 days of the week than do 2 hours on both Saturday and Sunday. What happens when you do a little bit of exercise each day is that keeps your metabolism elevated, it keeps you burning more calories, it keeps you burning the calories, it's going to ultimately lose the weight in the belly and tummy area. Last thing about exercise is beware of any spot reduction programs. Now, I know there's a lot of gadgets out there, a lot of machines, and in the gym you see people on the gym and the ab crunch machine, and all those are okay. But keep in mind that you can't out-exercise a bad diet. If you're not doing the other 4 tips that we talked about, and if your diet isn't on point, you're never going to see those abs. So again, you want to do what we talked about, those previous 4, and still do have exercises and core exercises. We do a ton of them here, but the problem is that if you're just doing those hoping that you're going to spot reduce, it ain't gonna happen. So spot reduction doesn't work. All right, so to recap, there's 5 tips. Avoid sugar and all of its insidious relatives. Number 2 is the daily dessert. What is that? Let's lose that. Enough of that. 3 is the bad snacking. 4 is the liquid calories. And 5 is the exercise we're going to add to our program. So there you go. There's your 5 tips to help you lose that tummy fat, that belly fat once and for all. If you got any value from this video, I ask that you just hit the subscribe button, leave some comments. If you have any questions, leave some comments, let us know. We'll certainly reach out to you and we'll answer any questions that you have. I'm Brian with Applied Fitness. And again, leave your comments, hit the subscribe. Love you. Be good.